Hello and welcome to tonight's stream in Starbound. So a request on our Discord server was to do something in Starbound, so tonight that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna go ahead and start and build a character, look at some of the normal things I go through to get started. I think we'll try this one on survival, so that'll add the eating and item drops on death. So let's build ourselves a quick character here. So we won't spend too much time here because we want to get into playing. Interesting enough, a lot of this doesn't matter too much because once you start getting all of your gear and stuff, you don't actually see it. We'll go with tidy whiteys. Alright. Should we give our guy here something crazy? Alright, that looks pretty crazy. And let's... Orange is pretty wild. Let's go with orange. Kind of like the jacket look. Let's do a black jacket. Give him some jeans. Blue jeans or black jeans? Let's go with black jeans. Alright, and I kind of like giving him a little bit of a personality when he stands. I usually go between either that one or that one. I think this looks like he's ready for action, ready to dash off and do something right away. Alright, so in honor of our Discord server request, which is where this live stream came from, let's do some Starbound. Let's name this guy Discord Whittister. There we go. So thank you, Whittister, for participating in our Discord server chats. So Whittister asked us, why don't you do a Starbound video? I would like to actually start making some Starbound tutorial videos, but I thought we'd start out with a little bit of live streaming just so we can get in. Okay, I think we've got a character created. He looks ready for action. Spiky orange hair. We are going to go ahead and do the intro mission because I've got some things I want to talk about in there from a game development standpoint. And again, we're doing this on survival. Jump out here real quick and pick my stream stats. There we go. Okay, so one thing I do want to talk about as part of this video series is why we do certain things. So in this particular mission, this whole introduction is essentially a giant tutorial. It's to try to teach you how to play the game and do different things. So I'm going to try to point out some things that I see that actually make that happen. So it said to press A, which is one of your movement keys. And now it's saying to interact with a nearby person, door, or other object, you should hover over it with your cursor and press E if you are awake. So as you can see, as my cursor goes over some objects, they highlight. I can walk up to them, press the E key, and that interacts with that object. So my first tip is, if you are new to the Starbound universe, is you can actually press a key to show you what you can and can't interact with. That key happens to be the Alt key. So you notice if I press the Alt key that all these objects highlight, right? Some people find this a little cheaty because you can find things that are hidden, but I like it. So for instance, you'll notice up here there's actually an object that highlights that you may or may not see if you weren't doing that. And all it does is turn on and off. I have a gaming mouse, so what I actually like to do is just put that on a mouse key. Then I can, as I'm walking through the world, I can just tap it and see, oh, look at that lava lamp. I can turn the lava lamp on and off. Or I can turn the radio on and off. Any game that lets you sit on a toilet has got to be a good game, so we'll do that. Alright, so that's where it started us off, right? It started it off in this area just to kind of be able to get a feel for the world. Now obviously if we keep moving our mouse around, we're going to notice that we can come up to a door, and if I press E, it lets me out. Now notice if I press E and I'm not close to the door, it doesn't open. If I'm close, it does open. Alright, the uniform is available to collect from your personal locker. It's quite impressive that you can remain so serene when you're running so late. Well done for you. So we got a couple of things here. We've got a little piece of story. It's trying to tell us part of the story. I'm running late, so it might not want me to linger here. But what this next part of the tutorial is doing is essentially teaching the loot mechanic, right? Like, how do I pick stuff up? So this is my locker. Again, you'll notice that it highlights when I press the key. If I walk up to it and press E, it opens up my inventory. Now, I tend to move my inventory around a little bit just to get it out of the way. So I tend to move that over here. So now what we're doing is we're doing our first interaction with looting and inventory, but we're doing it in this safe space, right? There's no danger, nothing's attacking me and things like that. So I will grab my pieces here. And now this also has given me some information on exploration, right? When I open this up, it's giving me a new panel, and it's making me say, oh, I can interact with this stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and throw my uniform on my visual tab right there. And so now I've actually interacted with that. If I want to interact with the different people, I can talk to them. Again, you'll notice if I highlight the area, trash can, I can't interact with this trash can, although there are some that you can, but the chair I can interact with. Now, the story is telling me that I'm late, but there's no real enforcement of that. It's not going to do anything if I take my time here. Alright. Information booth, I can interact with him. So this is a nice way to get us some information. Okay, I for inventory, that's great information. Q lets you drop an item. Okay, that's awesome, although I don't really have any items. N to toggle scan mode. Again, nothing that I can really do here. Control to move your camera around. That one's a good tip. What that one will actually do is if you hold the control key down, it'll pan the world in whichever direction your cursor is facing. This can be a good way to look ahead or look behind at what's going on in the world. Enter to read the sale messages. So that's kind of our history of chat messages. You get stuck, open your quest log. Very cool. Survive graduation day. That's ominous. You wouldn't think graduation would take a lot of survival. If you haven't seen this story, we are going to go through the beginning of the story, so make sure that you are aware. Jumping, okay, cool, pretty standard. S to crouch, awesome. Alright, back to Q, arrow keys to communicate using your emotions. So you notice my guy smiled on left arrow, right arrow, up arrow, and crying on down arrow. Escape to check the options, awesome. Alright, now we're starting to get repeats, so most likely we've gotten through them all. Again, because this is a tutorial level, something that we want to have kind of up and running early on. Alright, we're going to move on. So we've got a vending machine here. It does accept our money, which is measured in pixels, you know, down here at the bottom. So if I wanted to buy Oculemonade, or soda, or bottled water, again, from a game development, games production standpoint, this is here to make you explore the system, right? So I see this food gives me 20% max energy, 20% max energy, 10% health. This is an introduction that the food that you actually get can have stats and bonuses. If you don't click on this stuff, then you wouldn't see it, and it's introduced later. Alright, let's move on. Alright, so here's our first little interactive scene. Got this guy who's complaining about having to sweep the pedals up as the pedals kind of fall down. Got this girl who's going to ask you to sit a while if you talk to her. And you can sit on the bench. But here's our first kind of little world type tutorial piece, right? If I, again, hit my Alt key, you'll notice that over here I've got a flower that I can interact with. And so what this is showing me in the world is there are things that I don't run into, right? But I can interact with this thing. And interesting enough, if I press the E key, it now goes into my inventory. Actually, no, I equipped it since it's an equipable item. So this is headwear. So it's showing me that the things I interact with in the world, I can pick up. So it's another loot mechanic. Alright, moving forward. We'll keep our flower. Looks wonderful. So you'll notice the story. They're kind of giving you little pieces of information. You know, you're going to graduate, you're running late, matter manipulator, I'm nervous. The background here shows some of the equipment. That's the matter manipulator. And as we come up here, we're going to get to go through the graduation ceremony. I'm going to stop talking for, I could read through some of the stuff. There's no voiceover. My fellow protectorates, today we come together to witness the protectorate grow. For over 500 years we have stood proud here on Earth, drawing together races of all kinds in the name of peace. Our task to protect our fellow beings, to support, house and educate those that seek our aid, and to foster accord between those that aspire to it. Today, in the name of peace, we welcome our newest compatriots and present them each with our greatest tool, the matter manipulator. Huh? What was that? What? The... Ooh, doesn't look good for that guy. You graduate, take the manipulator and run. It's not safe to remain here. Please take the matter manipulator. You must proceed to the shuttle pad. Okay, so this was a dramatic little scene. It's foreshadowing the rest of the story. Also, it's getting us probably our first tool that we will use a lot throughout the entire game. So you notice that the graphics and the feedback showed that it moved it up to my toolbar. So if I press my R key, that actually makes my matter manipulator active. This is a pretty major component in the style of gameplay, and they made a pretty dramatic little intro to give it to you. Alright, so our quests will tell us to, again, survive graduation day. Our next step is to escape the destruction. Also notice that now that we've gone through this, my speed is faster. I can move around a lot quicker than my slow walk. Alright, so now a good thing that these developers do is they've introduced you to a new tool, but they want to show you how to use it. So we're going to move forward. Again, I'm going to click my Alt key every once in a while, make sure nothing's happening. And so here we go. It appears the ceiling has collapsed. The matter manipulator can be used to clear the dirt. Press the R key to equip it, then click and hold in the pile of dirt to dig through it. So one of the major mechanics of this game is the Terraria style ability to dig. So you notice what they've done is they've made it so that I can't get through here, right? I have to interact with the world. Since this is a major component in how this game plays, forcing you to do that is kind of important. Now you can take as much time or as little time as you want to do this. You can take all the blocks, or you can just knock these top blocks off, which is enough to get through. Again, I'm always pressing my Alt key. So, can I jump up there? I can't remember. Nope, I hit my head on that. So here's where you discover what kind of a gamer you are. Are you a completionist that must collect everything, or do you just kind of let the game world exist and you kind of work your way through it? For this first round, we're going to grab all of this. Now, they're going to teach us a lesson here in a little bit, because this isn't always the best thing to do. Alright, moving forward. So our next little puzzle is going to hit here. So I see lockers, but notice that I can't interact with them. They're not highlighting. But it has blocked my way. So scan show the room beyond the door has flooded. It should be best not to go. I advise you find a way over it. Use spacebar to jump up to higher platforms. So again, this is a way to kind of teach you how to look at your world and understand what the world is. Most people would probably notice, you know, it says roof access and there's platforms here that you can jump on. But this is a way to kind of force you through an easy puzzle, how to get through the world. So up we go. Now if you're a completionist gamer, the first thing you'll do is run the other way, but there's nowhere to go there. The scale of the disaster is immeasurable. The destruction occurred is beyond my capability or capacity to quantify. You must leave this planet immediately. Alright, so here's our next little kind of world area. Nowhere to go but down, so we're going to drop down here. Jump down the platform like this. You should hold S to crouch, then tap spacebar. So again, you'll notice this is kind of a way for me to show the player how to interact with the world, right? Like, how do I get through this particular puzzle? The soda machine's broken. Okay. So here we're going to share one of the secrets in the game. If you have learned your press the Alt key to see what you can interact with, you'll notice up above my head here, there's this little broken banner. It's a little bit of a jumping puzzle to get there. But if you grab this, you get a cape. If you don't grab it, you never get this cape again. So it's one of those little kind of rewards. It also shows me that I have a back slot, which is kind of cool. Most of these slots have both the equip area and then the visual area, so if you don't like what the equipped item looks like, you can change the visuals. If it's in the visual slot, you get none of the stats. If it's in the equipped slot, you do get stats if they have them. So that's a little Easter egg, right? If you don't come up here and grab it, you won't actually get the cape. Now there's nowhere else to go up here, so you notice that it hasn't told me that I need to do this, but it's presented me with, again, a very similar challenge that I've already been presented with, and that is to get through a blockage. Since manipulating the matter is a major mechanic in the game, they want to make sure that you understand how to do that. Alright, we're almost out. So, loot thing, the chest sitting on that conveyor belt should contain some kind of weapon. Please arm yourself. Again, this is a little bit of foreshadowing. There's no reason to arm yourself if something bad isn't about to happen. So we'll open this guy up, and this time we're going to hit the Take All button. Now, one thing I want you to notice is as the inventory is filling up, it auto-equips things that you can equip into your toolbar up here. So the sword went here. You can move these things around. If you want the sword in slot 1, you can put it in slot 1. A couple of things here. If you press the X key, there's actually 2 different toolbars. You'll see up here in the upper left-hand corner that the toolbars switch back and forth. This can be convenient. I will oftentimes put like crafting stuff on one toolbar, or building stuff on one toolbar, and my major fighting stuff on another. It's kind of up to you how you use the toolbars. So now I have a sword. If I hold the key down, or my left mouse button down, he'll swing. If I tap it, it'll run through some combos. Some weapons will have a right click ability. So you notice up here I got an energy meter. If I hold down my right mouse button, it uses up my energy, and then that refills. Alright, check the area. Looks like just that chest. I don't see anything else that's highlighting. If you want to get really extreme when you're out on a planet, you can actually look around and check the area as well. You might see something in a dungeon or something else you didn't see. If you get your camera off like this, you just press the control key once and it will recenter for you. Alright, this doesn't look good. So you'll notice that here, as I ran my cursor over top of the enemy, it actually gave me a toolbar. This one you don't have to fight. It's just part of the background. But the one that they put here definitely is blocking our path. So you'll notice it won't let me through. So let's give it a whack. Alright, before we leave this area, we're about done here. Something to note for those of you that are collectors and completionists. While this beginning weapon might not be a weapon that you'll use for long as you find new weapons, if you save it till the end of the game, there's a little special thing that you can do with it. So I would highly recommend that you save that weapon. Alright, so this is the end. I have bypassed the pre-flight checks, get aboard. This is our ship. One thing that always kind of, I don't want to say frustrates me, but there's a loot chest, right? I'm like, oh, I must get it. And so I tried to get here, get to this one, awesome. Oh, there's another one. I gotta get to this one. Never make it. Alright, cutscene time. Kinda like how they did that. You kinda played through the prelude to the game. And this is where the game actually starts. If you click skip, you can actually skip that whole introduction mission if you don't want to do it. Alright, so reboot process remains uninitiated. Again, this is them trying to lead you. Let's talk a little bit more about our toolbar before we move forward. So you notice in that last chest I picked up some healing things. This is a healing for minor wounds, restores 50 health over 10 seconds. This is an instant heal, restores 50 health over 1 second. The cool thing here is if you move these things around, so let's go grab our heal stuff here. This is my 1 second one. I'm going to put it there. This is my 10 second one. I'm going to put it here. You'll notice that on our toolbar it says L and R. That's the left mouse button and right mouse button. So like this sword is a two-handed sword, so my right becomes the special attack. But if it's a one-handed item, you can actually equip two things in this slot. So on a right click, I'll use this one. On a left click, I'll use that one. Only if I've pressed the number 2. Right, so that's slot 1, slot 2, slot 3, slot 4, slot 5, slot 6, and then R for our matter manipulator. These two unlock eventually. They're also part of the matter manipulator. Alright, let's continue the mission. So we are awake. Again, if I either run my cursor over or press my key, it'll show me the things I can interact with. You'll hear the lovely noise because my ship is all broken up. You can see it. That's not working. Let's see if we can get through the door. Door working. That's not working. Navigation is offline. So it looks like this is the thing I have to interact with, which reboots my AI personality of my ship. I manage the maintenance of your ship. I also am programmed to offer you information and advice. Earth was attacked by an unknown force and was subsequently annihilated. The ship's navigation systems were damaged in our escape. Our location is currently unknown. Okay, so again, this is the developers kind of walking us through the process. You'll notice here an exclamation point has shown up. This is to show us that it is something we need to do. You notice up here in the upper right hand corner, it's the same icon as your quest icon. So, you know, it's kind of a linkage there. A thing to note, every planet in the Starbound universe on your computer is shared. So every character you make actually is in the same universe, although there are like billions of planets. But if you get the planet ID, you can actually put your characters on the same planet. Alright, let's see what Sail has to say. We're currently in orbit around an unknown world. The ship is heavily damaged and we are unable to leave orbit. I suggest you beam down to the planet's surface using the teleporter and search for supplies and perhaps a means of fixing the ship. So we get a reward bag. We can decline the mission, although if you decline this mission, there's not really much else to do in the game. But we can accept this. Now, some of this stuff is still offline because our ship is broken, but that will have given us access to our inventory here. Some things it gives us: a flashlight. That's awesome. I'm gonna right click that. Torches. Torches are great. We'll place those here. And it gives us food. So since we're playing on survival, if you look up here in the upper left hand corner of my character portrait, you notice this yellow bar has now started to go down. That's because I need to eat. Now, a couple of quick things. I do have some mods installed, so in the stock game you won't actually see some of this information. The food 50 and the spoils in 29 hours, 57 minutes, and 59 seconds. Those were actually added through a mod, but I'm going to collect my food. The other thing to notice is everything is on a different tab, so each of these tabs store different things. So this is your main inventory, your blocks inventory. Items and furniture and stuff go here. Crafting materials tend to go here. And this one is for food, which is very important in a survival story. Alright. I'm going to go ahead and put my flashlight up here. And I think we're going to drop this off. So this is a flyer that commemorates the Protectorate's graduation ceremony. We'll just put that in here. So our ship locker is kind of like our storage system. Alright, again, pressing my Alt button. What else can I interact with? I've tried everything here. I can interact with my cat. There we go, my cat loves me. Alright, our teleporter is active. Beam down, current orbited world. I can also press this button over here. Alright, so this is where the game actually starts. So, a couple of things worth looking at. Cute kitty, great comment. First off, flashlight, right? Light is important. Second, if I want to come into here and go into my options, there's a graphical change that I can make. If I go into graphics, I can change my zoom level. The game defaults to zoom levels 2, 3, and 4. These are the ones that are actually exist in the game. So if I apply this and come out here, you're going to notice that I'm way zoomed in. This will let you see things in more detail, obviously, but it also makes it so that you can see less of the world. If I come back in here, go to graphics and go out to level 2, you're going to notice that I see far more of the world, although my character gets smaller. Depending on your monitor size and different things like that, you have to figure out what works best for you. Another thing that isn't stock in my playthrough here is you'll notice that my ores are glowing. In the stock game, you don't see that. They're all dark, so finding ore can be a little bit difficult. So that's a choice you have to make. I kind of think along the lines that, you know what, this is a spacefaring race. We have developed the technology to find ore, but that's kind of up to you if you want to add a mod that does that or not. Okay, so now that we're on the planet, I have to decide a few things. Depends on how conservative you want to be, but my checklist of things is I need to explore, but I need to be able to survive. Probably one of the first things I need to deal with is food. So my food, full inventory of food, so if I want to eat to full, is actually 100 units. Based on that mod that you saw that these are worth 50. So I can fill my hunger up twice before I run out of food. So one of the first priorities I actually put on my playthrough is to find food. Second is light. I already have some of my light taken care of with my flashlight and my torches. When you're up here on the surface, it's not so bad, but as you go underground, it gets pretty dark, right? So if I go and let's just open up this little cave here. You're going to notice as I get down here, it starts getting dark pretty quick. And if we want to take this to an extreme, let's grab a dirt block here. You're going to see how dark it can get down here. Now, a couple things you can do if you're close to the surface. With my matter manipulator, I can right click on the background and cut a hole in it. Now, if I'm high enough, it'll actually let some light through. That works, but as you get deeper, that's not something that works. So I've grabbed these vines. I get a little tip here. You discover some plant fiber. This can be woven into useful fabrics at your spinning wheel. So this is your sail unit trying to give you some information on things that you can do in the game. Okay, so we talked about food. We've talked about light. Those are important things. I'm always going to spawn to this point on the planet when I come down from my spaceship, so that's important. Something that I like to do is I like to go ahead and do some collecting, but then I can also take the time to essentially build myself a base of operations, right? So this spot isn't actually too bad. You know, it's right next to my spawn point. I'm going to take, what do I have? Dry dirt and dirt. We'll fill in our dirt here. So, I'm going to go over to matter manipulator mode, and I'm going to chop down some trees. Now, as you play through the game, this can actually get faster. It's upgradable. You found some wood. My databanks tell me wood is a material with a great many uses. I suggest you kill additional trees and explore your crafting menu. Alright, so again, a tip is trying to be played there. And we'll talk about that in a second after we get this tree cut down. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and hit my Alt key. And I notice over here, there's something. Much like my pink hair adornment, I can come over here and see this. Now there's a couple things I can do here. If I click on them with my matter manipulator once, you're going to notice that the stalks stay there. Make sure I'm saying this right. But I got some rice, which is a cooking ingredient. What else did I get? That's my plant fiber. Got my logs. If I hold down and click on it, you're going to notice that now not only do I have the rice, but I've got rice seeds. Okay, now rice isn't the best find in that this is a cooking ingredient, but it doesn't give me food directly. Some plants that you find will actually give you food directly. Sail down here is telling me about my mission that I should be on. Alright, so let's explore crafting a little bit. So I press the C key. I have a basic crafting menu here. I can make some rope, plant fiber, make some of my healing stuff. So I can make some healing stuff there. Inventors Table. That's something that is probably one of my first stationary crafting things. Ignore that. That's from a mod. Torches are important. Wood platforms can be important, so I want to look at that. Rope can be important, so I can climb. But you notice in the early game, plant fiber becomes relatively important. Timber is needed for a lot of my crafting, so you'll notice here I can make timber. If you look at it, it says ×5. What this means is for every piece of wood, so let's open up our inventory here and go to our logs. There we go. So for every wooden log, I'll get 5 timber. So if I put a number in here and click craft, you're going to notice this went down by 1, this went up by 5. If I want to do more, right, so let's do 9 of these. That'll give us a total of 10. I can craft those. Depending on the complexity, that crafting menu will go faster or slower. Which gives me my Inventors Table. I'm going to go ahead and click that. You'll notice that this one takes a lot longer. Now, a mistake that some people will make is they'll start that crafting and just kind of move on. You'll notice that nothing actually crafted. You have to wait for this little cooldown to make it to the bottom. And that will pop in my crafter's table. And now I have improved my survival chance by 7.2%. Alright, so I'm going to go into my inventory. I can place this on the ground. And this opens up more crafting things. I can craft other crafting items, which for the early game I probably don't need right now, except for this spinning wheel. So, in my checklist of things I care about, food and shelter are important. We're almost run out of food, but we have our canned food, so we'll be okay for a little while. Light is important. So if I kind of look at my crafting menu, I have my flashlight, and I have the ability to make torches if I can find coal. So if I look around, because I have the mod installed, this black rock down here is coal, so I can dig and find that. So I have the ability to make light. What else do I want to be able to do? So I got light, I can make healing items, that's good. This one to me is important. A lot of people either don't know about it or maybe don't think it's as important. It's the human flag. Now it takes copper and woven fabric. Copper can also be found on this starter planet. You'll notice that again if I look down over here, these kind of copper color is copper ore, so I can get copper. The cool thing about the human flag is if you are exploring and let's say you fill up your inventory and want to go back to your ship and dump off some of your inventory, you can put down a flag and it uses on when you put it down, and you can teleport back to that spot. You can pick the flag back up once you get there, or you can leave it there if you want to teleport back and forth. So also if you found a great place to place your house, you could put a flag in it and teleport to it as well. Okay, well we've talked long enough now that it's gotten dark, which is going to make exploring a little harder. We can always press 6 and turn our flashlight on if we need to. For the most part, this starter planet isn't that hard, so we're not going to get ourselves in too much trouble. So let's see, let's get some more wood and we'll build ourselves a relatively simple little house. Let's check something here real quick. Yeah, I can't remember if it's the anvil. It might be the anvil that allows you to create doors. Alright, so we're going to chop down some more trees. Here in a moment we should start getting the warning sound because we're going to be hungry. If you ignore it for too long, it'll eventually start causing damage. Another little tip with your harvesting trees is the direction you're facing. So like I'm going to face this way and chop my trees. I'm on the left side of the tree. The tree will fall opposite the direction you're on. If I chop this one this way, it'll fall that way. If I would chop it from this side, you're going to notice it'll fall the other way. This becomes important when you're in an area. Let's say there was a big pond or something here and you didn't want your wood to fall into that. You can make sure that it falls the correct direction. We'll grab this tree and then get ourselves some coal. Alright, plenty of logs. Okay, so there you saw that because we couldn't see because of our limited light, the mob was actually hiding back in here, and when I jumped in there I got attacked. Hard to pass. There we go. Alright, so you notice up here now we're hearing the bleeping sound. Weakness to your offense likely due to hunger. You should find something to eat in order to maintain your body's functionality. We're just gonna let that run for a while, see what happens. Alright, we're gonna grab some plant fiber here. Now you'll notice here that on the background there's actually some coal there as well. If I want to mine that, I can right click and that allows me to mine the background. I left click to mine the foreground. So some of this is just when you come across a resource, it's probably a good idea to collect it because you don't know when you're going to get it again. You'll also notice as I've now discovered this coal, how much longer it takes to mine the coal. I'm purposely letting my health drop because we want to see what happens when it goes all the way down. We're down to 1 box. In the background you can hear the mobs bouncing around, so that's kind of an indicator that you're within range of something. Alright, so let's talk about strategy here. I made that jump, but here I'm kind of stuck, right? I can't go up and over this hill. I can do a couple things. I can mine these out if I can reach them. Eventually I'm not going to be able to reach, but if I jump and just hold my left mouse button down, I can actually get to that stuff. Now I can't make that jump, it's a little bit too tall, but again I can do kind of the same thing. I can mine these out, make the jump. Now before I go too far in there, I should probably look, make sure I'm not going to get attacked. Almost gone. Okay, so I have a choice to make here, right? Like I could actually build and jump up there, or I could carve myself a tunnel. I'm going to take the build route. I'm going to use this time to switch my menu bars, open up my inventory, and I'm going to throw some dirt in here. Now what I like to do on this is still equip whatever my main weapon is in one. That way whichever bar I'm on, I can still defend myself, but I don't use a lot of this other stuff. Now in this case, I'm going to build. If I hold my shift key down, you're going to notice that the block size changes. I can build a 4x4 block or a 1x1 block. So we're going to go to the 1x1 block and we are going to just build ourselves. Alright, bad things are happening now. Alright, so now I've gotten to the point where I need to eat. You'll notice my health is... oh, I didn't do it in time. So I was going to try to eat and save myself, but this gives us a chance to explore death. So I lost money because I'm playing on survival mode. This can become a big deal if you have lots of money. I don't have a lot. But I want you to notice this. If you look at my inventory, my healing things are gone. My blocks are gone. I kept my torches. Anything that was there is gone, and my food is gone. Because I died, I dropped my items on death. So this is a life lesson. One of the things, if you want to be cautious in a survival playthrough, is to set up a house on your planet, and once you find your first chest, put a chest in there and have a backup set of items, like some healing items, some food and things like that, because if you lose your stuff way deep underground, you have to get back to it. Fortunately for us, we weren't that far into the game world, so we should be able to just go back and grab our stuff. So let's go over there. So you notice this stuff is persistent, right? My stuff is still there. I also kept my weapon, so I'm not completely hosed here. Okay, so what I was going to do is I was going to build this platform out and then cut myself a hole. Alright. Okay, so now the bad thing about dying is as I pick this stuff back up, it messes up my toolbars. So I have to go back through here and reset my toolbars if I want. This does bring up another little interesting thing that I think is worth talking about, though. You'll notice that the mob fell down and can't actually make this jump back up. One of the things that I like about this style of game is that you can use your environment as part of your combat strategy. And in this game, to the point that I can actually grab blocks, right? And I can actually build myself. You know, I could build around my body and make myself a safe thing and then attack where I want to. It's a good strategy. The thing you want to be careful of, though, is when you get to some of the dungeon encounters, you're not allowed to build. So you also have to get good at actually playing the game. But I can ignore him. So what I've done is I've cut myself a hole so I can jump up here. Then I've built myself a little ramp so I can jump up there. So that's just a way to do it. But this is valuable to me. So you notice I saw this in the game world. I'm going to go ahead and press my Alt key and notice that it also highlights. So I want that. I want to get to that because that is food. We're going to do this one a little bit different. We're going to go ahead and go as high as we can here and kind of chop some stuff out, and then we'll kind of judge. I need to cut it down to about right there, it looks like. Alright. Keep cutting up his way. So what I should be able to do is just make myself a giant set of stairs here and get myself up there. Now, let's talk about once you start getting up here and tall. Fall damage in Starbound is a real thing. Alright. So if I fall down there, you notice that I took damage. So be careful as you're climbing because that can cause you issues. Okay, so we're going to watch here. Same type of thing. If I left click on this plant, it harvests the plant, right? And so I got pearl peas. Only 2.5 food. So if you start to think about this from the standpoint of it takes 100 to fill this bar, that doesn't do me a lot of good. But I can harvest this plant and get myself seeds. And these seeds can become valuable because what I can do is I can create myself a little farm and resupply my food as needed. Alright. So let's take the next 10 minutes or so and explore or fall off of a cliff and die. That was nearly embarrassing. Okay, so what if you don't want to take that loss of pixels and loss of items? There is a casual mode. In casual mode, you won't actually lose your items. So if you're starting out, that can be a good way to start. Something else in hardcore mode is if you get deep enough below the surface, it no longer allows you to teleport out, which means you actually have to get up high enough to teleport out, and that can be a little bit frustrating as you get deeper into the world. Alright, let's go get our stuff back. I haven't played on a newer character for a while, so that was a fall I thought I could make, but let's play it safe here. And we'll just drop down this way. Okay, so what are items that we want to keep our eyes open for? Obviously food. We're always looking for food. This cobblestone is actually used in some crafting recipes as we kind of move forward. So that's worth getting as well. Alright, I think I got all my stuff back. Alright, bring our heals back over here. Alright, more food. So if you look there, it's wheat. And I got myself a wheat seed. Again, always kind of check to see how useful is it to me. Wheat is my seed, we'll move it down there. Is a cooking ingredient. So a cooking ingredient is good to have, but it's not something you can directly eat. But it is something you can use to make more complex food. More complex food will actually feed you more, so that has a value as well. Up there is some flowers. I think they're used for dyes and things like that, but not something I'm going to worry about right now. Alright, so here's some more flowers. So we'll collect them just so we can see red petal, blue petal. So now this run is mostly going to be about collecting stuff. That's cotton. We'll go ahead and grab that. Used in some crafting recipes. Some more wheat. I could be grabbing some of this coal if I wanted to. Alright, in the sake of time, we're not going to go down in here. This is one of the dungeon areas. Our main mission is to find this energy source. This is an easy way to do it. But what we will see here is an ability to look through chests. In this case, crates. So I can just start going through here and looting things. We'll go ahead and drop down and grab these things. Nothing there, nothing there. More torches. Torches are always good. Again, I can do my look around, see how far I want to go in. So you'll see there's actually quite a few items in here, right? There's a chair, a bunch of crates over here. There's a chest there. There's a tent. The tent is something you can sleep in. Let's go down that way and take a look. Now, a good strategy when you're exploring here is to go and find your torches. Where are my torches? They're there. And I can place these in my world so I can see. It's also a good way to kind of keep track of where you have and haven't explored. That way you can know it's like, no, I've been here because I see my torches, right? Wow, I forgot how weak I was to start. Okay, well this is going to illustrate a point that I did want to make. And that is how the worlds work. So instead of going right this time, we're going to go left. Kind of work our way up this way. I cut myself a little path through here. Alright, and then we're just going to build ourselves a little platform there. Man, this world is very mountainous. Usually they're a little flatter. You won't run into having to do this much to get around. But another thing that you'll eventually be able to do is upgrade your matter manipulator, which will make it so you can cut bigger holes. And that does make life a little bit easier. Alright, that's not a bad little path to get out. So what I like to do is, if I can, use the world to my advantage, right? So you'll notice that this hill is pretty easy to climb. So we'll use that, and then we'll just carve our way out up here. I guess the one thing we can say is I keep killing myself often enough that I'm not starving. Alright, let's make our way across this way. So now you'll notice that I'm going right instead of left. There's no advantage or disadvantage of going one way or the other. It's mostly due to preference, whichever you prefer. Another upgrade you get eventually is like a double jump, and you get very spoiled by that. Alright, let's work our way across here. So here I'm trying to use the terrain to my advantage, because obviously my combat skills were kind of sucky earlier. So that forced him down. Alright. Nope, we haven't got any plant fiber. So this is, like I said, you know, I've not followed my own advice in that I should probably set up a house, save some of this plant fiber and stuff so I could recraft myself some healing items and different things like that, but we're just going to run it. Plant fiber is not too hard to get a hold of. Alright, so let's go ahead and craft ourselves. So a couple things here. You can increase your numbers, or you can type in a number. If you hit the left number, it'll give you the most that you can craft. There we go. Now we can at least heal ourselves. So I'm going to press 2 and right click, and that'll start the healing process. Then we'll go and fight this guy. Alright, that went a little better. I was paying attention. Alright, what do we got here? That looks like corn. It is corn. Corn is a good one, in that corn is something you can eat directly. Gives us 3 food. And also, if I click the plant, I can get corn seeds. So that would make a nice little garden. Okay, so we're going to try to quickly, as we kind of wrap up here, get to the same spot we were to recover our stuff. We're just going to ignore him. If you get far enough away from them, they won't chase you. And what is it with this world and every cliff that you can't jump? Alright, so another strategy you can use for this, if you get enough plant fiber, is you can make ropes and actually climb up via rope. That can also help. I'm going to hold down shift and only make a one block, our little ramp there. I'm going to try to get this guy to jump over me. There we go. Yay, the sun's coming up. Alright, so here's kind of a situation much like our opening world, where you have to kind of cut through to get through this. We're going to avoid that guy. I got one more thing I really want to show here, so we are going to run a little over our normal hour, but that's okay. Because it's another little piece that I think is worth discussing. Okay, this is a good find. This is a mission area. Once we get our fuel, this is something that we're going to want to revisit. So remembering where that's at's a good idea. It can be dangerous to just run like this. You can get a whole bunch of mobs that decide to follow you. And then if they catch you, you can get yourself into some trouble. I think we're going to be okay. Can't not do the food. The other thing is you play, you notice I don't hit the Alt key a lot, although you can look down here, try to find stuff. You start to just learn to identify, you know, what things are. Like there's a chest down there. You know, I caught it out of the corner of my eye. I find chests definitely worth opening. So I'm gonna press E on that. Teleporter core, some copper wire, and some items here. Okay, so I'm gonna do I have any dirt left? Dirt block. Let's put that up here. Now while this guy can't actually get to me, so I'm actually pretty safe, you know, something you can do, you'll notice I've got a decent range here. If I hold my shift key down, I can just build a wall. So now he can't get to me, right? Now, you notice this chest here? I'm going to go ahead and use my matter manipulator, and I can harvest the chest, and it goes to my inventory. So now I have storage, and that's a good thing to have. Alright, let's get out of here. Okay, back on the run. Let's see if we can run to the next. Nice part about a lot of these mobs is they can't really climb too terribly well. So if you can get above them, it's not so bad. Yeah, this world I randomly got generated here is pretty hilly. I don't remember having to climb this many big hills that you have to dig your way up. Alright. Back on the run. Okay, so you'll notice now we're in a different biome. Mushrooms, if you're lucky enough to get mushrooms, mushrooms can be very awesome. you can actually make mushroom bread once you learn to do it, and it's actually really pretty good for you to eat. And I don't remember. You can chop these big mushrooms down. Can't remember what they give. Yeah, so they gave lots of mushrooms. So this is if you're trying to make a more advanced crafting, food crafting thing, mushroom biomes are actually good to have. We're not going to stay though. Although I am going to replace my healing here, because otherwise I'm going to get myself in trouble. Water can negate some fall damage if it's deep enough. That's a nice little tip. That guy shot me in the back. Okay, so what you'll notice now is I've actually gotten back to that tunnel system that I was looking at earlier by going the other direction. So what this illustrates is that the worlds in Starbound wrap around, right? You can go left or right and actually get to where you want to go. This is a nice little feature in that it's good so that you can explore. Something that I will often do when I land on a new world that I'm just exploring is I'll grab some of my dirt, right, and I'll go into single block mode like this, and I'll build some kind of a item that wouldn't naturally occur in the world, right? So I'm not going to see an S through the random generation, so that represents start. That way when I'm exploring, as I come back around and I find that, I know that I've wrapped around the entire world. Another item here that I think is worth mentioning are the tents. These tents will actually allow you to sleep inside the tent, and your health will slowly go up. Now, this can be great if you're running low on health potions. And I don't think, I have to look this one up, I don't remember. I think if you sleep in a bed, it actually pauses your hunger. So your hunger won't go down. So if you just need to walk away from the computer or something, you can do that. I think the tents do not have that ability. I think your hunger still goes down while you're in the tent. The cool part about tents, though, is much like everything else in the game, a tent is harvestable, right? So I can put a tent in my inventory, and now that I have this, if I'm exploring and I get to a spot, I can build myself a little cave to protect myself from mobs. I can place my tent down, I can sleep and heal myself up. So if I'm running low on supplies or resources and don't have the ability to heal, that is a way to get some of your health back. There's no difference between these tents, right? One is just a different style than the other. So the last thing we want to do, if we remember, we came here. Where's my flashlight? There's our stuff. You know, all of our stuff that I dropped because I sucked at combat here. And that's why. You see those two bats come down? They came down from the ceiling and got me. Alright, we're ready for them this time. There we go. So let's go back here. If you put something like a torch in your inventory, on your hotbar, you can actually use it directly from there. So I can place my torch there, place my torch there. Okay. So you will see that there's plenty to explore in this cave system. These places are awesome. You can definitely gear up here. Like there's a piece of head gear. That's a great one. Matter manipulator. That'll help me upgrade my matter manipulator. You'll also notice that I'm picking up some items. More bats. You'll notice I'm picking up these javelins and hunting spears and things like that. That's a ranged attack. It's consumable. You'll use them up, but that's kind of nice to have. The last thing that I think I noticed in our inventory, let's go up here and look, is in my food, right there, you'll notice I got raw poultry, right? I can eat that, but it will poison me. But if I come over here to my little campfire, and a campfire is something I can craft, right, with a torch in here, or I could steal this one. Now if I open up my crafting menu, or if I E-click on the campfire, you're going to notice that it gives me new items. So if I look at this nice little raw poultry that I've got here, it gives me 10 food, but poisons me. In a pinch, I could eat it. It would actually solve my hunger problem. But here I can go to cooked poultry, cook it, and now it gives me 20 food, and it also doesn't poison me anymore, right? So look for things like that. I died a lot, so that's taking care of my hunger. But you'll notice I still have my starter food, so I'm not too bad here. If I look at my pearl peas, I come up here, boiled pearl peas. Pearl pea is worth 2.5 food. But if I click on this and prepare, now I've got these that actually have 10, right? So that 2.5 food turned into 10. The downside is you'll notice that these don't stack. You know, where these stack in your inventory. So like this rice, right? If I come up here and do boiled rice, same thing, I'm going to make all 4. You'll notice that it actually uses up my inventory space. So a strategy you can use for food here is you can actually carry a campfire with you and cook it as you need it. That way you don't have to have all your inventory used up. I can make a little popcorn, and here we go, roasted mushrooms. So if you look at this stack of mushrooms that I have 19 mushrooms from that mushroom biome. Let's just make 3 of those. Okay, so it takes 5 mushrooms to prepare. But again, that mushroom biome, by knocking down those giant mushrooms, is almost a endless supply of food. Now, there's no guarantee you'll have a mushroom biome when you start a planet, so that's just a little bit of luck. So the last thing we're going to do here is eat. Again, this is a mod I have installed, but you'll kind of get a feel for this. You'll notice that my mushrooms spoil in 1 hour and 29 minutes. These are 3 hours. These are 3 hours. That's an hour and a half. You tend to want to eat the food that spoils first. If I remember right, if I click on the sort button, it will put the food in the order that it's going to spoil in. Nah, that must not be right. I thought it sorted that way, but so I'm going to eat some of this food that is going to spoil in an hour and a half. So we'll eat our poultry. I can just grab it and left click out here in the world, and that will eat it. Or if I want to put it up here on my bar, I could eat it from there as well. But usually I just left click, left click, left click, left click, and we are full, or full-ish. So you notice I grabbed some bonus health as well from being well fed. I think if you go all the way to full, let's see, let's eat some, we'll eat some rice. There we go. Full belly. So with a full belly, your body will slowly regenerate and heal. That's another advantage of always keeping yourself fed. If you notice, my health now is actually going up as I rest because I am full. Alright, I think this is a good spot to call it. We are 15 minutes over what we normally do, but that's okay. So thank you for joining us. Looking forward to playing a lot more Starbound. Really enjoy this game, and I have a lot of content looking to actually build in Starbound. We're going to do some analysis of fall damage, some other analysis of some of the systems, look at some of the mods and things like that. But you can kind of see there's a lot going on in this game, and I'm really looking forward to exploring the game systems as we kind of work our way through the different aspects of Starbound. If you like what you see and want to support the channel, please don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. If you want to support us in different ways, you can find some things down in the description that say support the channel. If you're a SWTOR player, you can actually gain some items and stuff by following my referral link. I also don't think I have any Starbound items in my Amazon store yet, but look at the Amazon affiliate store. We're looking to add some items for different aspects of our gaming as well. There. We had to kick him out of the tent so we could sleep in the tent. All right. Thanks for joining us. If you are listening in, we're going to pop up to the Discord server. There's a channel up there called Live After Stream or Live Stream After Party or something like that. That's where I tend to hang out and answer any questions after a stream. But thank you for joining. It was really, really good to get back into Starbound. I haven't played Starbound in quite a while, actually. I'm looking forward to getting back into it and playing Starbound some more. Thank you. If you have any questions about the content or anything, like I said, please comment in the section or join us in Discord. And other than that, have a great night, and we will see you next time.